As to the books, you had better bring them yourself when you come to be baptized. Mr. Elvin of Bury is going to preach the sermon for me, and as we have not many candidates this time, we shall all the more value your presence. If you do not come, I cross that out, because you must. Then send the books when you can. I left some tracts in Mr. Howell's gig. I should be obliged if you will see after them if you go to Headingham. I should like to go there too, if I come. You may show grandfather all I have written, if you like, for truth is truth, even if he cannot receive it. Still, I think you had much better not, for it is not at all likely he will ever change an opinion so long roofed in him, and it is never worth while for us to mention it if it will only irritate and do no good. I wish to live in unity with every believer, whether Calvinist, Arminian, if not impossible, Churchman, Independent, or Wesleyan, and though I firmly believe some of them are tottering, I do not like them well enough to prop them up by my wrangling with them. My best respects and regards to aunt, uncles and aunts, cousins, grandfather, Mr. Unwin, Will Richardson, and all the good people in Stambourne, not excepting yourself. I am yours most truly, C. H. Spurgeon. The Will Richardson here mentioned was a godly ploughman at Stambourne, to whom C. H. Spurgeon, while living at his grandfather's, was devotedly attached, and the friendship between them was continued in after years. The first volume of the New Park Street Pulpit contains the following reference to him. I recollect walking with a ploughman one day, a man who was deeply taught, although he was a ploughman. And really, ploughmen would make a great deal better preachers than many college gentlemen. And he said to me, "Depend upon it, my good brother, if you or I ever get 1 inch above the ground, we shall just get that inch too high." This was a favourite utterance of the good man, as appears from the brief sketch of him written by Pastor J. C. Houchin. When I came to Stambourne, one of the old men who had overlived their former pastor, and whose grey hairs adorned the table pew of the old chapel, was William Richardson, a farm labourer, and a man of clear and strong mind. He was able to read, so as to make fair use of his Bible and hymn book, and he had a heartfelt knowledge of the gospel. It is said that Master Charles was very fond of Will, and that Will used to like to talk with the boy, and that the two have been seen walking up and down the field together when Will was following the plough. Will Richardson had a reputation for what they call cramp sayings, many of which used to be retailed in the village 20 years ago. On one occasion, when a young minister just settled in the neighbourhood had occupied the pulpit for the day in exchange with a present pastor, he was met at the foot of the pulpit stairs by Will, who, shaking his hand, said, "Ah, young man, you have got a good many stiles to get over before you get into preaching road." Will spoke the truth, as it turned out, but it was pretty straight hitting. Visiting him one day and finding him full of faith and giving glory to God, on my expressing a strong desire for fellowship with him in those experiences, he remarked that when the sun shone and the bees were at work, if there was honey in one skep, there was enough to fill another. Some friends had visited him, and had observed that if they were blessed with his experiences, they should be beyond all doubt and fear. And he replied that God only gave these great things when his former gifts had been made good use of. I quoted the parable of the talents, and he said, "That is it." Will was wont to say, "Depend upon it, if we get 1 inch above the ground in our own estimation, we get just that inch too high." One occasion I found him excessively weak, but quite sensible, and he said, "Don't we read of one of old, tried in the fire?" I quoted the passage, and he replied, "That is gold indeed." He then said that he had felt the 2 armies of the flesh and the spirit as lively in him now as when he was well and about in the world, and that he was disappointed and grieved to find it so, as it gave the enemy his chief advantage. So Satan laid all his sins for years past before him, and insinuated that they must end in his destruction. But, said Will, I was enabled to say to him, God is a gracious and holy God, and what he has put into my heart, he will not take away any more. And he has put love into my heart, and if he were to send me to hell, I must love him still. And I told him not to say any more to me about my sins, but to go to the Lord about them, for he knows whether I be pardoned and made his child, or whether I be a hypocrite. He could not carry such a message. Then there seemed to come a strong voice which said, "He shall die in the Lord." And, oh, the peace and the joy I cannot describe to you nor nobody. Oh, that his dear name was known and loved by every person all over the whole world. My last visit in July 1870, 4 days before his death, showed the ruling passion for cramp sayings to be strong in death. He was quite sensible, and after conversation I took up the Bible, and opening it at the 17th of John, I commenced reading, when he shouted aloud, "Oh, that is my blood horse." I said, "What do you mean?" And he replied, "I can write higher on that chapter than on any other." So I read it and prayed with him for the last time.